All right, good morning, everybody. Mic check here. If anybody can just let me know, I'd like to start off the week on the right page. I don't want to talk for 20 minutes and find out you guys can't hear me. So not that that happens very often, but we have WebEx going this morning. We also have YouTube going just for today, and then I will be turning it on, I believe, Tuesday and Thursday as well. But anyways, welcome. And hopefully you took a few minutes out to take a look at the morning trend video as I went into very detailed analysis on how I want to approach box trades this morning. Because we are at a juncture between cash close, the daily LIS, and a trendy edge here, we understand that these three lines together are pretty powerful and can be treated as a magnet, and perhaps price just wants to chop around today. That wouldn't be anything new. So we're going to be really patient. I went ahead and drew a box around some key Fibonacci levels of last night's high and the overnight session low. And so we're just looking for price to break out or underneath these. And if you wanted to, for anybody that's not as aggressive, you could extend this box down into the low. It just depends on your patience level. Okay, because price can easily break out of this box and just kind of tweezer it down here to these wicks and then push up here. So just keep that in mind. All right, so again on ES this morning, very important to understand what we're looking at. Again, if you didn't watch the video, then that's a good thing because you don't have to listen to me twice. And if you did, I apologize. But basically, we came in last night. We got the nice test of the LIS. If you watched the analysis before we posted, talked about what that meant and what was going to happen. Price did bounce here, made a higher high, nice move up into 25.44 as the target. Nice 10-point action. I mean, really, we use this LIS and this methodology through the night, and for future traders, I mean, looking at 5 to 10 points a night. Pretty easy setup. And what does that look like? $12.50 per tick, so $50 per point. Usually getting you anywhere from $250 to $500 into that trade before you even wake up and start trading options or shares, whatever it is that you fancy. Okay, right now, again, just kind of hanging out above the trendy edge and into the LIS. All right, we need to break out above this box, or we need to break down below this box into targets above and below. Now, we do have some stuff coming in. Today was retail sales. Tomorrow's GDP and Redbook. Okay, so we could see a little bit of volatility, but remember, it doesn't really matter. The methodology that we use is going to work regardless. News is just a catalyst that moves price up into and near these zones sooner. All right, so that's all that does. It's just kind of catapult price into those before any kind of catalyst. So it doesn't change overall what's going on here. We are in a downtrend and we are currently ranging up. So depending on if you're into shapes and so forth like that, you can look at it this way on a 4 hour if you like. My target overall is going to be the bell curve that I explained last night. 2632. Basically, that gives you about 262 on SPY. How are we going to get there? It could take weeks. Who knows, right? Maybe we'll get there by tomorrow. With this market, anything's possible. So we just want to keep those things in mind. Overall, what I'm working on is, I want to take range by range. And so the first range that we worked on last week, we were basically coming in from this pivot high to this pivot low. So if I were to draw that just from here, and if we could take this out and build a higher high above there, so basically above this 25.79, 25.82, then we're looking at, getting into our overall 50, our bell curve here. Okay, and then we will extend this range from here to here, and then we'll use Fibonacci's from here, pivot high to pivot low, and so forth. And then we'll look at other targets. If we break down, it's pretty simple. This is why we have the edges on here. We will target those. And so when we're waking up, I want to show you on the daily what this looks like. Okay, a little bit bigger picture. Okay, so when we're looking at it this way, I want you to focus on our edges waking up this morning, and you can see that our monthly edges here in blue, okay? And we're working up towards the mid monthly edge, very important, okay? So all these are getting very close to each other. So once we get there, we'll look. Jared, you should definitely know this. If you can recall a couple weeks ago, um, when we came into the monthly, the weekly, the line in the sand, the cash close, it was I wouldn't say a nightmare, but it slowed down things extremely. So you have to just be ready for that. Personally, you come into that area of indecision into earnings, right? It makes sense with all these big names coming up that the market kind of stalls and is waiting for some kind of catalyst to get it moving, whether it's up or down. Okay. As you could see, that 2533 number is so important today, the LIS, and here we are again right at it as we're talking. Okay. So this again is your line in the sand, but we need to make a higher high above this and or make a lower low. It's a nice area to understand what sit on the hands really means. Okay. All right, so looking over here just really quick into the box trades this morning. Want to go over these again. Got Amazon, Tesla, Netflix, Baba. To be very clear here, boxes to the bottom, they are reference points this morning. It would be different if I woke up and the futures were still up, say 16, 18 points. Okay, and we're just looking for a quick pullback and get aggressive at a box and then look for higher targets. Because we're kind of stalled and just kind of hanging out, it's important. There might not be enough breadth there, not enough buying, so things may slow down a tad. And so I don't want to be overly aggressive. So we're just going to watch these price levels. And currently Amazon, got up to 1604. You can see there's a pivot here around 1594, 1595, just kind of bounced off of that. What I'd like to see is it to break down below the pivot and get an opportunity down here around the box around 1581 or so. Okay, but just understand that also this pivot can hold, and that's okay too. Let me just go ahead and outline this pivot here. Okay, so we can use this the same exact way. If it doesn't come down to my box down to the bottom, I don't care. All right, but what we can see is the same thing. Let's go ahead and show you that. I'm going to zoom in here, and price is going to, if it wants to, can kind of just pierce up real quick. Nice pullback. We'll be looking for the test of this overall pivot. If we can get that nice base and a higher high, we'll look for 1615. Okay, if we break down below, then I will be patient. Most likely, I probably won't short into this box, but I'll just be patient and overall wait for my box trade. And if we get this, again, you guys know how that works. Rally base rally, looking for the pivot. Rally base rally, looking for 1615. Okay. Over here on Tesla, well, if we break down below the box, I'm looking for 1541, just in case you didn't see that this morning, and then 1507, 1527. Okay. Over to the right, we have Tesla, box trade. So we built this a little bit earlier this morning, so things have changed. It's basically already coming down to the box. Actually, it did come down to the box already. Remember, pre-market, aftermarket doesn't matter. This methodology works. So we got pre-market traders and post-market. It doesn't matter. You can see it's already bouncing out of the box here. Depending on your style of trading, whether it be a scalp, I get this question a lot. So a lot of scalping in the last several months. That's just what the market gives you. Okay. Now, can you swing a trade? Yes. If you went into multiple trades and say, I'll give you an example like Netflix on Friday was a 12x trade, right? So if you took three positions there and you scaled out at 200%, 400%, I would imagine that your last trade would have been very profitable, and so therefore could have turned into a swing trade over the weekend. You wake up this morning, you're up again, four or five handles, and so that turned into a swing trade, right? All right. So Tesla, same thing here. We'll see if this box can hold. Same that I just showed you over here on Amazon. Want to see if we can basically hook. Now you're going to hear me talk about hook a lot. I think it's very important. So what does that look like? If we come down into the box, okay, and we start to base here, what I'm looking for is a higher high, okay, and then you get the hook, and then we take out the high, and then we get that rally base rally into our target. Okay, so I'd like to see a hook into the box. Do use the midline. This is very important, 318. I did pull it down just a tad bit more. To kind of, depending on your overall risk tolerance, you can assess these. Now, understand that the boxes are built on Fibonacci's and supply and demand on a smaller time frame, and then we look at the overall trend to understand where to get in. Right now, the box is more of a reference point around those junctures, but also for some traders who are able to watch, it gives them a sense of comfort. It's like, okay, I don't want to be in this trade, and I want to continue watching this trade if it breaks down below this box or at the line. And if it starts to hook and starts to make a higher high, then maybe I want to take a call. And if it doesn't hook and makes a lower low, maybe I want to get into puts. Right. And so it's just a visual comfort to have targets and to understand all this stuff when we're getting into trades. Lower left on Netflix, same thing. It's kind of like Amazon. Doesn't have to come down into the box if it wants to continue to rally. That's great. There's all kinds of different scenarios here. It doesn't have to come into my line, and I just want to draw this out to make this very clear. If we get a nice pop into open, look for a double top maybe, and then a pullback here, right? And let's say it gets close to here, but doesn't quite make it. Do I want to be stubborn and say, oh, I'm waiting for that 298.77? Not necessarily. I'm going to do the same exact thing, right? This thing can start to go sideways, kind of neutral, and then start to hook. And then we're looking for rally base rally, higher highs. And it definitely, if we flush out or take out the upper high and make a higher, nice confirmation here, can set a stop just below this breakout and then just ride this thing up into our upper targets, okay, which are here at around 316 up to 327, okay. Same thing with BABA here. We have earnings in a couple weeks. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean it has to run up into earnings. Don't be biased. Just watch price action. Have a reference point. Reference point for today, OU over under. That's not the football team. Looking here, you're looking at about 140 and some change, 140.50, 140.60. Same thing here. Okay, so it's already looked like it's kind of come down and touched that this morning. We're going to watch price action around there. Would like to see a rally-based rally, take out this pre-market high, which is here at around 141.30. And if we could do that, looking for the pivot up here at 141.98, and then we have 144, 145. Below here, price can come down into 140 and a break of the pre-market with 139, looking for 138.95. Again, just a reference point here. It is important. This blue line is a trendy edge. They work. They're amazing. And so we're just going to stay a little patient here and watch the market as we open up. So as retail traders, it stinks sometimes to watch futures, and there's a lot of traders that don't understand futures. So I'm going to take a few minutes just to kind of give you a little bit of insight into what does it mean to trade ES, right? So different platforms can give you different price structures and so forth. I trade with Thinkorswim. This account is over 25,000, so I'm able to get a discounted rate during the day. So I pay half of what it would cost at night session. Okay, what does that mean? I could come over here on ES, go over here to Active Trader, and you have a question mark right here. This is really cool. A lot of people don't even know you can click on this, and it will tell you right here, quantity times tick. Okay, so I have one in there for the quantity. It tells you it's $12.50. It's going to require me to at least have $6,600 in the account. All right, $6,600 to trade this name. All right, so during day trading hours, if you have over 25,000, you can apply for it. They'll basically let you trade this for 3,300. Now, before all the volatility came in, I tell you what, it was amazing because this number was like at 1,000, right? And there's some brokers out there that would still allow you to trade that for 1,000. Or less, I've heard, but it was pretty cool. You could, depending on your size of account, you could do 10 to 20 contracts. You're holding so much leverage there that the prices didn't move a whole lot, but you were able to make quick money on just a few points. Okay, and so $12.50 a tick, that's $50 a point. It moves quite a bit in relationship to SPY. You're looking at 10 points equals $1 in the SPY. Okay, very important to understand if you're new here and you're watching this, why does John concentrate on ES so much? Come on. This is your blueprint for SPY and SPX. The relationship is the same. If I have a target to the upside, and let's just say it's 2632, then you're looking at SPY. You want to see what the relationship is right now. So during options expiration, the correlation drops for a couple weeks. And so you always want to be aware of that. What I mean is, say we're trading right now at 2534. Typically, I can just kind of drop a couple of those numbers and SPY is trading at 253. Okay, so coming over here to SPY though, you could see it is actually trading at 252.60. So it's off $1. All right, so it's important to understand that. So you got to watch it as it tends to correlate. And so right now, if I'm shooting, this is just an example. If I'm shooting for 260, right, 2600 on ES, then I'm looking for 259, right, in SPY. All right, just a hypothetical. All right. So when I leverage this is so for $6,600, I can hold a contract, right? And I'm not talking options contract here. Okay, I'm actually holding 500 shares of SPY. Now you can do the math, right? 200 times $252 right now, that's a lot more than $6,600. See, so I'm able to trade with only 6,600 for something that would cost somebody else a ton of money. That is the advantage of trading futures. The other advantage is we get to trade the trade or the moves pre and after, right? So at night when everybody's like watching those, you can be making money and then wake up in the morning and trade your options or whatever it is you trade. So this is a quick introduction. There's a lot behind it. If you're interested in more, just let me know. I'll be happy to reach out and kind of talk to you about that. But that's just an overall view of just the ES, not the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is the same way, moves a certain points or whatever. You're looking at about 41 points or so in the NASDAQ to move a dollar in the Qs. Okay. Um, but there's lots of things on my watch list this morning before we get started here that are kind of signaling. It's you want to be a little bit cautious right now. We also were checking out the skew over the weekend. We got the SKEW skew at a 111, getting pretty low here. So all right, so let's go over here to about 5 minutes. We're going to get started here in about 10 minutes. If you are tuning in and kind of watching here, there's nothing fancy. Unicorns aren't going to pop out and rainbows. But what is important is just kind of understanding the overall methodology that I am sharing with you. And I'll go into a couple little things that I use that really, really help. I don't talk moving averages. I do shapes are fine, but I do not trade off of them. That's just something I would add to the tool kit. And if it's something that helps, I think that's great. You'll see over here, on the 4 hour on ES, I have these nice little lines, right? They're reference points, right? So it's okay to see what is important. Tex, I love that Tex brought this up on Twitter. I mean, just 100% couldn't agree more. The advantage of understanding supply and demand is if you're trading shapes, you, you get these traders that want to take a breakout because it broke a line, and then as soon as they take the breakout, it fails. And they don't understand why, and it's because they don't understand that as soon as it broke out into supply, right? And supply is you can identify through candle pattern. Okay, so very important to know if price were to come up here, for example, or let's just say it breaks down. Okay, there we go. Let's say it breaks down and we get here, right? I personally like the retest of this line, right? And then the lower low. But let's say that, you go short, and then as soon as you go short, this thing does this. Why did it do that, right? Maybe because there's demand right here, right? And so if you don't know these kind of things, they're very important to understand. You can go out and research on the internet and so forth. It really help you out. I definitely encourage traders to look into it for something that you can add to your arsenal of firepower there. Okay. All right, also just want to bring this up, oil. Oil, you know, for oil trader CL futures, kind of holding the trendy edge here. So what's important is this actually kind of shows you what's going on into this week for equities, futures that I'm covering and so forth, is you have, we came up into the week prior trendy edge. And so you can see these edges are here. We came up and now we're looking for price to hold these edges. Okay, we're looking for price to hold these edge. So you got a couple things going on here in oil. And so you have the monthly edge. Okay, that's going to be these blue lines right here. And then you have the weekly edges. Okay, these bad boys right here. All right. And so what you want to see is that we can hold here, but also this little line here, it looks purple to me, sort of. This is the monthly mid edge. So you got some major support here. You want to see it hold, and if it can hold, we are looking for oil to come up into this first target here. I can see that right away around 51, and then I'm looking for a test of the monthly edge, which is probably 53 and some change. Okay, if we break down below here, pretty easy. We're coming down into the mid edge. That would be our first target at around 46.91 or so. And then if that can hold, looking for a retest of the weekly bottom edge, which is also pretty much lined up with our monthly. Okay, so this area here. Just reference points. These are great reference points, great targets. Okay, and that's what we're looking at for there. All right, so we got about 6 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and be quiet and just wait for the market to open. Like I was saying, nothing fancy. We're going to pull up. I want to get my stuff ready here. And so one thing just to share with traders, you know, some traders will say, hey, you don't need a bunch of fancy screens and so forth. I guess it just depends on what you're doing, right? I mean, for me, it's very important to watch the futures and so forth. And so I have this indicator on this screen. It's a little bit different, and you'll see, you know, you have a little bit of color change, if you will. So basically, red to yellow to green. It's pretty easy if you understand what stoplights do. Basically, that's what you're kind of doing here on the ES. And so currently, you know, red to yellow to green on a smaller candle on 5 minute looks pretty good. It is holding the LIS so far. So we'll just kind of wait out for that, okay? I'm not big into RSI, and to be quite honest with you, this is just kind of fancy down here. This is a friend that built this for me. It's a custom RSI indicator. I personally do not use this, okay? I'll look at it, but I never make a decision based off of any kind of indicators except for my own, all right? And so I just want to show you that, but I would keep this on my upper screen up here so I can monitor what the ES is doing. And so that's very important to me. And then just sharing with you guys kind of my background, what I do here. And then, you know, I would have, you know, my box trade set up. So you can see down here in the lower left, my box trades, I can put the option chain in there, quick reference, and just kind of click on those. So that's important for me. And then obviously everything else that I monitor here. So anyways, we'll get started here in a few minutes. Be very patient walking into these box trades. And again, being open-minded to any other trades that do come up. All right, so far you can see Amazon coming down into our first line here at 1594. Remember we talked about this. This could serve as basically a reference point where price could push up here. Personally, would like it down here. Again, Tesla also a little pullback here, looking for a move into the box there. And then, of course, Netflix going nuts here. Give it a second, see what it wants to do. Don't forget that 316, 327 is kind of the targets there. Okay, nice pullbacks there, just like we expected. This is why it pays to be patient. And a matter of fact, while this is going on here, I'm going to refill on my coffee and just kind of give it a few minutes to do its thing. But again, Amazon coming down here as well. I might actually, let's look up Amazon really quick. We'll see how much these options are going for. And so far, Amazon is holding a 1594. Tesla, nice little bounce, about a buck from the box here if you're a Tesla trader. All right, I'll be right back. All right, Amazon holding the 1594 pretty well. It's 5-minute candles we got showing here. Baba also right there at the over under line. Let's see what's going to happen. Give it a few more minutes. Netflix pulling back just a tad here. And Tesla still down there in the box. And ES just a tad underneath the LIS here. So again, this is why it pays to be patient, kind of giving you some misdirection. If you guys do recall, and gals, if you recall looking at the morning trend video, very important here, I have the what I call the ice cube, just waiting for this thing. I mean, honestly, I'm not even really interested in equities. until I start to see either a breakout above this box or break down below this box. And honestly, to be, and again, to not be too aggressive, I'm actually going to put the low in here to hold this, okay? So we want to hold this right here. Put this up there. And now you can see, even if we haven't taken a trade here, you can see the methodology helps you and holds you from making any kind of mistakes, right? And so if you wait, right, and just kind of look, what are we looking for right now, right? We haven't come down into the box. We did say that, for instance, Amazon can hold this line. So for Amazon, what you want to see is a higher high, a retest of that high, and then a breakout. Then I'm looking for the long trade, okay? And here on Netflix, right about now, we just made another higher high, okay? And again, see what we can do here. BABA, different story. Could end up being a short, okay? So let me put a 5-minute candle on here. Okay, what do we look for on the short side? A drop below the over-under, a retest of the over-under, and then a lower low. Okay. Remember we talked about Tesla as well at this 318 level. This is an important level. Want to see it hold. You can see a nice kick right off of that. Timing is everything with options. You get in at the wrong time, it sucks, right? Anybody trading anything out there in the room? Anybody jumping anything? I see, Jared, I saw that you jumped into ES. You must have had a pretty tight stop on that. Nice trade, Omer. Omer took Tesla here at 318 at the line. I like to see a higher high there, man. That'd be pretty sweet. Okay, so on the over under, you can see we made a lower low here on BABA. Is coming down into the first target here at 138.95. All right, about to make that higher high, it looks like, on Netflix as well. Nice trade on Tesla. May actually jump into some Tesla here in a minute. What strike did you get, Omer? 320s, yeah. All right, we just jumped into Tesla here a few seconds back. Nice little spike there. for the higher high. Netflix also looking pretty good at this juncture. See if it can hold this level here. And remember, you can scale out here at 325. But you want to use this level, so if you're in multiple positions, see if it could break out above there, and then you're going to use the same line, same way. Just look for a rally above here, and then a retest, and then a rally base rally. Ultimately targeting 332 here. Nice. Omer, there's your sell right there at 325.12. And you can see a little bit of resistance there. Okay, so I'm going to scale really quick. Did you get your sell there, Omer? Okay. Do like Netflix here too. 316 possible. Amazon still haven't done anything. Baba, you can see it bounce right off of her 138.95. For anybody that's new in here, understand this. I get a lot of people, they don't directly say anything to me, but they, how can you have targets to the bottom and the top? Again, they're based off supply and demand. You can see here price came into demand. It's popping here on Baba. That's why the target is a target. It's a scale area. You can see here on Tesla, first scale is 325.12, and so you're able to get that. This was a quick, $150 or so into the first zone. You can see it pull back just tad there. What you're looking for above there is a rally base rally. Again, over here on Netflix, may actually jump into this here in a second. And again, I like the 316. Let's go over here and take a look at it. Nice job, Omer. Anybody else take those Teslas? Let's see, Netflix, where are you at? Do a little bit longer trade here on Netflix. I'm looking for 325. Again, also, if anybody is new at watching here, one important thing to understand, I am not, I should talk for myself. I don't have an army in my pocket. I'm not afraid of losing. Losing means nothing. To me, I understand probabilities and looking for you know, I'm okay with probabilities. If I win 7 out of 10 trades, if I lose 3 in a row, then I understand that my next 7 could be winners. And so I don't get discouraged. What I do not do is let trades go to zero anymore. I find it very important. You know if you're in a good trade or not. If you're not in a good trade, usually the market will let you know right away. Okay, so for me personally, I like to get out of trades somewhere around 40 and 50% losers, because at the end of the day, if you let a couple winners do what they're supposed to do, you end up making a lot more money than what you've lost on that 40 or 50%. And you can see here, just jumping into Netflix that fast made you good money. Premiums, go up pretty quick. This for me might be a hold. We'll see, unless again, if it drops down below 40%. Okay. Okay, just gonna go to the big screen here. I may actually scalp some Amazon. Just kind of watch it here for a few minutes. It is shaping up nicely. If it could make that higher high, then I want to see it kind of break out into the 1615 area, come back, retest that, and then get a higher high, and then we're looking for 1659. Okay. And there's your higher high on Amazon. And the 1594 did work very well. Let's see it push up in here into 1650, 1615. Okay, nice move there in Amazon. All right, just gonna kind of chill out and not overtrade. But I do like what I see here in Amazon. Let me look at Amazon prices really quick. See what we got going on here. Let's see, Amazon. How much are we going for this morning? Remember, also just to share, price is not that important to me either. What that means is, uh, just because if I buy something that is, for instance, if I buy at the money here at 3,300 in Amazon, I don't plan on losing 3,300. I plan on using the same mindset, right? So if I'm willing to lose $1,000 a trade, then I will put a stop on that at $1,000 down. 3,300 just seals me a ticket, helps me buy what I want to buy, but I still use the same methods. Okay. All right. So price came into 1615.81 there. You can see kind of pulling back just a tad. What we're looking for is a nice base here. If I get a pullback, that's great. I'll be looking for roughly around a 50% pullback this morning's high, and then we'll look to potentially get these for a little bit smaller premium here. Also, Netflix looking really good. Depending on your risk tolerance, you can start scaling. People are always looking for home runs. This money adds up very quickly. $100. Look, we've been open for 19 minutes, and so if you've already made 500 bucks, I think that's a pretty good job, right? So congratulations, and okay, just gonna scale there. I scaled on Netflix. All right, so now if you had multiple positions in names and you went ahead, scaled and made for profits, you don't want to be that trader that gives it away. So always make sure if you're going to keep a stop on remaining positions, my own opinion, remember, I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not finance advice. But for me, just being an options trader, what I've learned is that you scale, you get out of your positions, you make profits, and on your remaining positions, let's say you got in at 3, it's trading at 380, you scaled at 4. I wouldn't want to take a loss below 340, right? At least no matter what happens, I end up making money on my trade. Okay, very important. All right, now kind of took care of Netflix and our first trade. Now I'm just kind of moving down my watch list to see if there's anything else I want to trade. I notice that ES is breaking down. We've already scaled out of our positions there, and then going to move down here. And so if you're kind of wondering what my room looks like, you're more than welcome to hit me up on direct message, and maybe I can let you come in for a night and just kind of look around and see what we offer here at Trendy Options. But it's a plethora of stuff. So there's a lessons channel, there's the live screen share, there's futures, there's the box trades, there's the charts, there's the swing trades. We do. I just added. This sounds funny. I'm not trying to sound funny. I just added the weed channel to just focus on a few names that are in that sector: CGC, TLRY. Uh, um, MJ, right, the ETF, and so forth. So let's go back to these box trades again. Just like to follow up here. Okay, and you can see nice level that worked very well here at 1615.81. You can also see here Tesla level worked very well. That's where some members scaled out there. And then we have Netflix. I went ahead and dropped there at that point of juncture there. And then BABA is still making its way up here. So BABA is actually one of those where I talked about this earlier. I'm not doing anything aggressive with this because when you can identify targets and you see stuff like this, you can then marry up R&R, risk to reward. What does that look like? So for example, Alibaba, if I would have went short here, but I know that my targets are built out of demand, does it really make sense for me to go short here just to get this little move? Right? Maybe, if you have deep pockets and you bought 100 of these and you quickly scalp that, that's great. But what you can see is that it worked very well, and what we're looking for is a move up into here again. And so we get to start our morning over. Rally, base, and then I look for the high, and then we can look to go there. Okay. Tesla is still looking very nice from the box. And these things look like they're probably going to get a little bit more momentum into the day. I would love to see that ES is going to break out above that ice cube I showed you. And if it can do that, I think these names can really go crazy. But if it breaks down, we've already made our money for the morning. We're able to now just kind of calm down. And now that retail has all jumped in at the top, right? I'm retail too, but I'm just trying to give you some insight. So now that retail has jumped in at the top where we sold, now we're able to wait for a few minutes, and then we'll just wait to assess the rest of the day. Okay, so this is going to take a few minutes, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, who knows? And then I will jump back on here. Hey Omar, are you listening? So we have a member here that wants to see McDonald's. So again, it looks like this thing could get you a nice little intraday flag here on Netflix. What are you waiting for, right? Stop below this flag, or it could just be waiting. Could draw something up on this. This is a very small time frame, just so that everyone understands that. You could draw a nice little flag here. What I like to do is come up into my target. So it's gonna look like, geez, here's good old TOS for you. And draw your flag here, or just your trending line. I could use the top here, obviously. Looking for a breakout above there, being patient, going, okay, I want to see a higher high here, right? And then take the trade up into 316. Or if it breaks down, I will look for a move down into 298, 291. And then Tesla, same thing, flagging a little bit here. And let me get over to somebody's asking about McDonald's. Let's take a look at McDonald's. Are you short right now? So first things we want to do is go from the weekly. Everybody remembers my chart on McDonald's. Everything's actually playing out very well here. Don't forget the overall picture here. Um, we cup and handle is what I was looking for. So looking at the overall, it's bouncing where it's supposed to do at the bell curve there. It's forming really nice here, pulling back into, although these lines are over here, is exactly what's going on here, and it pushed right off of our 169.96 target. And then what I'm looking for is, Omer, supply is a little ways away. So just keep that in mind. It's at 180.47 on a weekly, all right, and then 182 and some change. And then I just want to work from week to day. So we're gonna go to the daily. Okay, very important here. And you can see on the daily, yeah, it came into some continuation wicks. So that's what you're fighting with. You see your continuation wicks here. But we are at the top end of the trendy edge, right? So that trendy edge is 178.64. Okay, so just give me 1 second here. 178.64, that's your level. All right. And so it came into this morning, came into the monthly edge. So I just want to show you that really quick. Okay. You know where your monthly edges are. You got your blue up here. You got your pink here. Okay. So this is your point of reference. And actually, because you have the top trendy edge that you're at, and you're at the mid monthly, this is a very critical juncture here, right? So yes, you could be aggressive and think, okay, this thing's going to be a short underneath these lines. That's okay, right? We can take that trade to the downside. But also for me, because we are uptrending in a down range, I want to actually see it take over these levels, and from there treat it just like we did everything else this morning, looking for a rally-based rally above that. Now, one thing I will tell you, and this is just my opinion again, is McDonald's is interesting, right? It typically is counter trend, right? So I typically, when the market starts to fade a little bit, McDonald's, everybody's running for the drive-through window, picking up hamburgers, right? People are depressed. People are losing money. I mean, honestly, this is what people say. Like food starts to go up. It's like everybody trades, which I know is bull crap because I hardly ever even meet traders, right? And so it's funny though. It's a counter trend trade for me, just like CMG. So I'm more interested in waiting than I am being aggressive with anything related to food. That's just me. So, anyways, I hope that helps. The midline is 178.70, and that's what it came up to this morning. The weekly edge, 178.65. They are so close together. So, can you hear me right now? I just want to make sure. Yeah, on the lower, I think we need to break it down into 4 hours. And so you probably use the 4 hour as well. On a 4 hour, it looks like a bull flag. To the downside, we're looking for the 50, which is 176.60. I'm going to go to an hour though, because that's just using a mid edge. And I want to see if there's anything we got here. Okay. The only thing I see is a pre-market gap from last last Thursday, you know. So you could definitely be targeting the mid edge at 176.60, and then below that into I would say about 88.7% of that, but roughly 175.50. Okay. All right, man. Have a good day. All right, CGC, I want to go over this. This is in the weed channel. I think this one's really important to keep your eye on. Okay, technical speaking, I don't care about news. I don't want to hear why you think CG is going up, right? I just want to talk about technicals. As I pointed out a little while ago, you're looking at a level of 61.8% from a zone that I found. It held that for several days, which gave you the indication that it was breaking out here. And you can see that on the daily, nice little flag. Uh, Same thing as every other chart. We are trending up in a down range. Some reference points here on a monthly LIS. I got $30.16. We're coming up to the top of the trendy edge here. So at this point, this is not a trade for me until I can see that we can take over the trendy edge. And quite frankly, it needs to take over. You can see like somewhat of a double top here. Um, we want to see price take over this, and then a move up into 30.16 is pretty imminent. That would happen pretty fast there. Okay. Anything above that, obviously, working up into some overall supply here at around 30.42. I would imagine price would just kind of go sideways here for a little bit over the monthly LIS. Okay, or sorry, this monthly LIS here. Okay, so what does that look like? I like to draw everything out so you can see what I'm thinking. So we're just going to do this. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. And so we have a reference point here, and some sell zone. And what we're looking for is a move, okay, above here. And then I would like to see a retest of the edge, okay, look like something like this. And then we're looking for a nice higher high. And you can see that would give you the breakout from our, if you like flags, right? The flag would look something like this. Apologize for the drawing. And then you get the breakout into supply. Okay, and then we would expect to look for shorts here, right? And then coming back, what happens is you create a pocket of demand, and then you're able to come back into that demand, and then consolidate for quite some time, and then you're building a bigger flag on a bigger time frame, and then things start to look a little bit different. Ultimately, testing up into the trend line that I have here. Okay, and then obviously, then it would come back. You guys can see how this relates. Then this comes back and retests the zone, okay? And then this is a reference point again. If you learn to take reference points and learn technical analysis, it really starts to make sense into how to trade these names, okay? All right, ES up 750, sweet. Let's go down here to our, look at that, oh, we're right there at the top. You can see there. Okay, just waiting for that little breakout there. There's an important area there. Nice. Let's go over here. Nice. Now Baba is above our over under. Netflix still hanging out in this little flag that I was just kind of messing around with earlier. and then Amazon pulling back, and then ES starting to push up. So what does this mean? It means we stay patient. Okay. I like this though. I love that Baba was able to hold 138.95, and that was giving me that second opportunity to look at Baba. So I want to, perhaps maybe I want to put on a swing position. Swing in my definition could mean, basically it could mean like an actual day. All right. Okay, this is the bigger picture of Baba. Okay. And you can see my over under. This is the weekly, sorry, the daily candle. Okay, would really like to see it above here today, which is what I showed you on the smaller screen. Okay. 140.68, 140, let's just call it 140.70. Okay. Above that, I think we get 142 pretty easily. We do have earnings. Now, I will, as a disclaimer, tell you last time they put BABA earnings on TOS, it was completely wrong. And the reason that I found that it was wrong is because I came over to the option chain and the implied volatility showed like 20%. I'm like, there's no way that it's only at 20% for BABA earnings, right? So if we go over to trade, let's just check it on the 31st is what it's showing. So 31st of January, so we hit this right here, 1 February. Implied volatility is 48%. It's actually not too bad to take a swing in this trade. I mean, for me, if we're holding $500 position, $1,000 positions, um, it's not too bad. So let's look at the targets really quick and look for, there it is over the over under. See what we want to get. I like this reference point here on the daily. Very important right here. Okay. And a matter of fact, it can stretch down into, I'm just going to do a yellow for caution. Come here. Okay, and so a nice little move here would be into here. So that, what does that give me? Looks about 145.5. So I come over here on a swing trade. I'm going to look at BABA. That's not BABA, that's Amazon. And Thinkorswim does some really strange stuff sometimes. It really does. So I think we're talking about roughly 145.70. So looking over here, I could buy out, and actually that fits right into my budget as far as doing a swing trade, especially in this market. I don't want to go too heavy. But the 145s are going for 485 by 505. It's interesting. I mean, that's going into earnings, and there's absolutely no call volume around there. So. Let me check that out, Jared. Did any of you guys take the box trades with me this morning? I'm just curious. In any of those names? I know Omer did really well on that Tesla trade. Let's see. Man, look at that level on Amazon. Worked perfectly. So now the question is, right? This is what goes through traders' minds. You're able to take a look at this and go, okay, do I get the opportunity to take the box trade now? Right? So I was patient on Amazon. I haven't done a thing because I had levels here, and I'm able to just kind of watch this pull back into the reference point talked about last night and this morning. And, we just sit here and just kind of wait and see what happens here. I know a couple of you went short here at this level, and so now we're looking for me personally, can this make a lower low? And that's okay because I'm patiently waiting for the box here. And again, this box being a reference point. And if we wanted to put some price levels around it just so that you have a better reference, you look 1580 by 1572. Okay, 1580 by 1572. That's what I'm looking for. Let's see if that happens. Now, Baba, I don't want to take the trade until I can see a base above the line. Okay, again, this helps incredibly so much. Okay, you got to have a plan going into the day. All right, and you got to be able to stick to it. It's hard. FOMO is hard, right? But the word is so crazy. It makes no sense, right? The market is here every day. You're not going to miss out. All right. All right. So what we're waiting for is if we can, right, base above here. And let me just be clear. Like, you don't have to like what I do. Maybe you have your own levels, but I would encourage you to treat your levels the same way, right? I want to see, uh, a rally above my level. Then I want to see a base, and then I want to see a rally. Then I want to see a retest of that, just to make sure that what was resistance actually turned into support before I start wanting to long it. Okay. Now this on a bigger time frame, at the end of the day, if you're not too concerned about getting things in to the penny, then you're able to, look at it from a daily perspective and understand that in this trade, you can have a bigger time frame. So, for example, I know that we had this in the room as far as a swing trade, and the LIS on a bigger time frame is like 133.80. So if you take a swing trade, as long as 133.80 is not broken, I'm happy to continue this trade up, right? And so, but for me, since we're at the trendy edge, it's very important to understand that any edge, right? And let me just show you this. Any edge, and they're yellow, but we're going to make it green here. It's just going to be a straight line. When price is making its way up, and then it pulls back, and then it goes up, what I'm looking for is this critical juncture here, which is very elementary. This is not anything I made up. Is that we come back and retest it, and now it turns into support, right? And then for me, I'm looking for the higher high. Now this could be on a 15-minute candle, a 30-minute candle. It just depends on, your thing. So my stop can be just below this, and then I'm looking for price to go up into here. Now what you'll notice is on the trendy edge, it's very important to understand that, okay, let's just pretend there's a box there. And let's pretend this is the trendy edge in here, okay? What's important to understand is that when we are below the edge, we are looking for resistance, right? For resistance and to possibly go short. But where I think a lot of traders like stop and they don't really understand what's going on is that the overall trend can be this, right? Into ER, into overhead supply. And yes, you might have this way over here, but they forget that we are creating higher lows and higher highs all the way into supply. Now this drawing over here is dramatic, right? This could just be from 0 to 10 bucks. Okay, who knows? You just put it on whatever time frame you want to. It's the same methods though. Okay. So if we're doing this and we don't forget what's going on, this trendy edge or this resistance, whatever it is for you, is just a reference point. So I don't expect things to sell off too hard. They may just actually pull back and consolidate. Because I start thinking about all these other things that are over here, right? You got the Fed, you got You got the red book, you got the GDP, you got unemployment, you got FOMC, you have jobless claims on Friday. It makes more sense that even though we may be coming into supply, that things might just actually do this, right? And then you're going to get chopped out, and when you look back, really you just kind of fell into this zone. Understood? All right, but not forgetting that we are actually continuing to go up in a down range. And so we never got confirmation several days ago that we're making a lower low. Matter of fact, we came into monthly demand. Okay? Those are the facts. No matter what you spend. And one thing that try to concentrate on that's so important is I'm a day trader. I'm not an investor. Okay? Not in this room. I'm a day trader. I wake up, I'm not biased. I look at my methodology and I trade it the same way every single day. Some days it works, some days it doesn't. Some days the market goes up, some days it goes down. What does it matter? Right? Think about the probabilities. If you have a plan and it works 7 times out of 10, I don't get discouraged. If you wake up every morning and you look for your favorite trader on Twitter and you wait to see what they're doing, and that's not a plan. All right. They could trade their butts off. I'll give it to them. There's some traders out there that can trade their butts off, right? But if you're trying to follow and you have no idea what the methodology is, you can get hurt. And I think that's what's important to understand. So at least take the time to learn. I think learn equals earn, all right? And if you're not doing that, you find yourself in a really bad predicament for sure. So. All right, let's go back to ES. Remember the ice cube. We put the ice cube on here this morning. Make fun of it, but it is what it is. Look at it. We haven't even gotten out of it yet. So in speculation, you would have got hurt. I think we're about to break out. Nope. Psych. Right back to the LIS. Okay. Remember what I told you. A lot of things on the agenda this week. Okay. Therefore, things are kind of going sideways until they're not. How did I get the ice cube? Very simple process. I will share with you right now. Look for the overnight range. Okay. 2551 was your high. When we wake up in the morning, we found a low. Very basic Fibonacci's. Anyone that tries to make Fibonacci look complicated, run. It's not. Here, I measured from high to low. Okay, we're uptrending in a down range. 618 is the golden Fibonacci. What this means is this trend right here. Sorry, sometimes I get these buttons confused. I know I got this. Sorry. So we have a down. Okay, so I measured from here to here. All right. What it means is 61.8% is where this trend is broken by Fibonacci. Okay, 61.8%. Now, when I first started, I used to think to myself like, well, why not 50, right? The 50 is so important. What the 50 is, we can just call it indecision. 2537. Would you say that there was indecision here? Yes. Did it resist? Yes. Indecision means bulls and bears come together at a halfway point and they both are competing against each other. Who's got more money? Who's got more money? Who's got more? You do not want to trade in the middle. It will kill you. The bigger picture for me is futures. If we are in the middle, guess what's going to happen to your equity trades? Yeah. Every once in a while, there'll be one that like goes way up and it's counter trend to the entire market, right? And then the next day, let's say the market's down, right? I love this one. Let's say the market's down like 100 handles, and there's a stock that's up a buck that day, and you hear all these traders say things like, "Hey, you should be paying attention to that," right? Because for some reason that stock's just going to continue going up when the market is in a complete sell-off, right? Just look at it as this. I would stay away. That's my opinion. I just stay away from that for myself because I've been there before and I take that trade and the next day it catches up and then it drops $2 or $3, right? So I've just always like stayed away from that. If the overall market is at an indecision point, that means I'm undecided what I want to do. If the market wants to break out above the 618, okay, we know that hitting the 88.7 has an 85% probability above the 61.8. So this zone here is a frozen ice cube zone for me. I know it sounds funny. Ice cube zone. So it's very important for me to just kind of stay still. Now, what I did was then, so I know 61.8 is the number that I want for it to break above. Okay. Then what I do is take this off. Okay. And then I want to use the most recent trend. Okay. So remember, to get the first one, overnight high, then we have our low, okay, of that session. Now what I want to look at is this trend here, okay? Now you could just use the bottom, honestly. But let's say the trend went like way up here. You don't really want to use the bottom because then you're kind of holding yourself from trading, and then your range is way too wide, right? So in this case, it's a pretty small range, this little uptrend within the down range. And so from here to here, I measure these, okay? And personally, I can do, do something like this. And if everybody knows, anyone that's been following me long enough understands I love 88.7. And as you can see, 88.7 was touched and then immediately was bought. Okay. If you don't have 88.7 on your Fibonacci chart, I recommend you do it. It is amazing. It is not a Fibonacci level. It is a master level. And I'm just making that up, but it is the level to have on your fibs. Okay. Right. That's all you need. Nice little push from here, right? It might not look like a lot, and this is where I think a lot of traders who don't or are not familiar with futures don't understand when we talk a few points, you are making a ton of money. So from using an easy methodology from 25.24 to nice move right back up into the list, 25.33, that's almost 10 points. That's almost $500 a contract within minutes, seconds. Pretty amazing stuff. Okay. All right. So today, I think, now that we've already made two trades, they've worked out, things look great, going over to the box trades again, what's important here is to notice what's happening. Okay, Netflix still chilling out into this little flag here. Look at Baba starting to hold the OU, looking pretty good. Probably gets up here to the pivot at 142. I'll probably take that trade a little bit further out here in a few minutes. And then, this level we were talking about earlier, 159 or 1594 on Amazon is holding quite well. Cool. And Tesla, look at it breaking out right above 325 into the 332 area is what we were looking for. So anyone that's been following me for quite some time and you're understanding if you're watching what the heck I'm talking about because you see two boxes. This is where the team takes a long. This is where the team takes a short and or scales out. And these are levels that actually work. On Tesla, if this thing continues to move, I want to look at a bigger picture here. Okay, I need to pull this up just so I can watch it closely. Okay, this is Tesla, bigger picture. we got the trendy edge, guys, right? We held the 50, right, which is the mid. We held that, moving up into the upper edge here at 334. That's my target, right? And on a monthly, just right above that, 336. Okay. And one could scale again here at the upper at 332. I would. I mean, that's me though. Now, the cool thing is on Tesla, it's actually building demand as we speak, which is really cool. So you could speculate a nice move up here, then a pullback into that demand. Pretty neat. There's the nice push in Tesla. All right, so we did take the swing trade in BABA. And Tesla, again, looking for that move up into the edge here at 334. And that swing trade, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and write these guys just to make sure, and support, just to make sure that they got their ER correct on Alibaba, because last time it was wrong. All right, nice move there. All right, so I'm not going to overtrade, like I said, so just going to throw this out there. CGC as well, holding its nice little move here. Google probably came back into we haven't covered Google, but they did have an upgrade this morning. And so on upgrades, I try not tend to do anything until it pulls back. And so I'm going to take a quick look there. Let's see what Netflix is doing. Cool. Netflix is breaking out of the flag here into the zone above, which is 316, 317. Looking for 327. Let's go over to Google. There we go. down 10 bucks. All right, cool. So on this one, you can see I already had some levels here. It came right into my level here at 1063. It is below the edge. You want to see this hold. By the end of the day, I would expect to hold above 1073, and this could be a swing into 1090 and 1117. Okay. So bigger picture here, right up here, 1117, 2 weeks out probably or so, would be my target if we can hold above 1072, 1073 there. Okay. All right, ES breaking out of the zone yet? There we go. Starting to get there. Boom. Let's see now. Remember what we talked about? Okay, remember what we talked about? Looking for the move out, probably right into this area here. Waiting for it to come back to retest what was resistance. Looking for the higher high base here up into 88.7, which also happens to be supply of 2551, so probably 2448. Let's just go ahead and measure that. This will give you a good demo into how the 88.7 works. So of course you want to hold 618. Look for the move back from the 76 back into the 61.8, and or it could pop up to 88.7. That's fine. So these are our targets right here. Now sometimes Amazon will show you the way as well. You can see here, it's going to do basically the same thing, kind of what we're seeing in the ES. You start to correlate all these, right? Look for 88.7. It's above the 618 right there. Okay, just kind of watch how it reacts here. Bob position already doing very well as well. Just using the simple techniques of this process. Netflix also doing really well. All right, nice little breakout above the Ice Cube and ES into the 76, looking for that. Just a slight pullback, and then 88.7. Actually, a nice little move here, as you can see, moving its way up into 25.48. Just concentrating on patience here, very important. So nice, nice moves there. Man, look at that TWL low. What a beautiful trade. I haven't even taken a look at Apple today. How's Apple doing? It's flat. Nice. So Apple's kind of in between, right? So we have the edges up here at 157.11 and then down here at 143.96. Just kind of at cash close of Friday, hanging out there. Same thing, just look for rally, base rally above that. And then I'd be looking for a move into 150.80, but not much more over that. We'll see though. Roku, amazing. Nice $5.50 here. Target looks like 41.44 right now. All right, just again, I'm putting this out there on Twitter just to kind of share with you guys. As you can see, just as talked about here, to the 76, nice pullback, retest of the 618 right there. Now you want to see that move up into the 88.7 at 25.48. All right, we're going to take a break here for about 30 minutes or so, and then I'll be back. Continue to monitor. I'm going to leave ES on the 5 minute for you, so you can see this. Okay, come back to retest that 618. See what's going to happen there. All right, so just a quick update here. Looking at 88.7, we did indeed hit it. Of the break of 61.8, remember I talked about 85% probability. So there's your 85%. I like probabilities. Now we're looking at, is this a double top? How do you approach the double top, right? So you could scale out at the 88.7 of any position that you may be holding. That's how I look at it. For a double top, what I'm looking for is just like any other line I've demonstrated here. I'm looking for a move that can take out the high, get that nice little quick move, and then just like every other line I've shown you, what was resistance turns into support. That is the theory if it can do that. I'm not saying it will do that, but what I would like to see is then again, higher high, and then off to what we call the mid-monthly trendy edge right there. Okay, and that comes in around 2565. Remember, the overall target for me is way up here, and that is 2632. This is just a slow ride into that as long as we can hold some very important levels each day. Also, BABA trade going very well from our entry here. You can see we're up. We took the over under. Nice move here. I'm just letting this one kind of go. This was a swing trade. These do not expire until further out. And just kind of looking for, 145 to 149. And then over here on Amazon. So one thing I will tell you on Amazon, I took a trade on this Friday expiration for $4.30, I think, for Amazon, reaching the 1725. So on the daily, yes, we are coming into supply. Okay, I'm not looking at it to get to 1725. That'd be cool if it did, but I could look to make a double if we can get up to 1659, into the next couple days. And so I could sell right in this area. But overall, when I look at it from a daily standpoint, I look at the SPY, SPX sell zones, I can get an idea of, hey, where could this actually run into, right? We have some earnings into 131. And one thing I've found into earnings is, you want to look at pattern and so forth, right? So I just want to quickly go over this and just kind of show you what I look at. There's several things that you could do as far as pattern is concerned. You can look at, this, right? Up, up, and then we have range here and a range here. You got a range here. You got a range here. And if you start to look at these and just quickly, without like pulling out your handy dandy Fibonacci ruler, you can see that most of these, right, deviations are standard one deviation. However, this roll that we are on currently is not, when comparing to the last several deviations, you can see that it's a little under par, right? And so it can and has moving, right? So if we want to measure it, I always tell people this is kind of funny. You can just use a Fibonacci as your ruler. Okay, so what I'm doing right here is I am measuring from this point to this point. That's one range. And then I'm going to measure the next uptrend. Okay, so right here, from here to here, and you can see it's pretty darn close. And then we're going to let's take a quarter of that from the last and pull this over here, right, from this range. Sorry, and you can see that Amazon. Now this is just you don't take trades off of just pattern, or maybe you do, whatever. All right. So, but what I'm trying to show you is this can still run. On a standard deviation move, can probably run up here around 1681, 1682. That's just off of using pattern. Okay, and then we tie everything else in. We have supply, we have demand, we have Fibonacci's and so forth. And so we're just kind of looking for that move there. Okay, all right. So just want to show you that really fast. This is a smaller position for myself on Amazon, so I'll give it a little bit of time. We know that Amazon can, it could drop 100, it can go up 100. Same rules apply. So instead of buying at the money, I talked about this earlier, instead of buying like at the money for Amazon for $3,000 or so, you could say, I don't like to lose more than $500 per trade, right? So on a $3,000 trade, that would look like 2,500. But instead of me being stressed out and buying a $3,000 trade, I could just buy something that I'm okay with losing. So if I'm okay with losing $500, then guess what? I happen to go out here and look at my targets and I'm like, hey, this could get to the upper monthly trendy edge, which is at around 1725. Oh, guess what? It cost me $500. Right? So I'm okay with it going to zero. Do you see how that works? So it's not that I like options going to zero, but I'm okay with that risk for myself. Okay, and we all know premiums can get jacked fairly quickly with these trades, and when that happens, it doesn't take much for the market to move up or down. But if we get the right direction, you end up getting premium on these options anyways, and can sell for profits. So, anyways, again, just want to kind of quick intermission there in between break time. And again, I'm going to pull up ES over here and just look at it we'll do a 15-minute for now. Okay, and there you go. We want the 88.7. We want price to take over the 88.7 and hold above there, okay? And ultimately, today would be a nice move up into 25.65. All right, quick update here. Went ahead and scaled out of BABA, so I'm looking for a little bit higher strike price, something a little bit cheaper. Looking for 150 to 155. So I may roll out into that. Tesla, nice move. And Tesla as well from box to box. You can see here all the way up to the edge. So for me, this is caution and or just kind of watch it here and see if it can rally base rally above the edge. That's kind of how we approach this. But do keep in mind that there is demand all the way down at about 326, and so that is the move that could happen. Um, let's take a look at Apple. We were waiting for that to break out. And I just want to see where we're at now. And it did not, so it broke down. That's okay too. And look for a move. This is the thing, right? So we talked about this. It didn't even make it to the mid edge. It's not even at the bottom edge, not at the top. I don't want to diddle in the middle. And so look for the move back into the edge down here at 144. Amazon 48. You could, honestly, in the position we took here, you could scale out, for almost $100 a contract around this area. It's just small money this morning because, we're in the middle. So on a bigger time frame, we're just kind of hanging out in the middle, and that's how these things go, right? So. So make a little bit of money there. BABA. So now we're completely four trades, four positive trades, and then we can start looking at higher strikes, lower because I don't want to take as much risk now, um, just because we're kind of at those junctures, right? So ES came into that double top per se. You can see here at 2551 right to the T. And so important that the market can roll over now. So we're completely flat. We made four positive trades, and now we could just be patient again. There's no reason to act crazy. BABA, I still like as a swing, and so I want to kind of get a better. So I'm going to go into detail a little bit more on this trade. Um, and so I like the daily. Let me take a look at the weekly here. Um, Get, let me do the analysis as if we're coming into our earnings here. I like the mid. I like the monthly all the way up here. This is crazy. 164. I actually drop here. Let's look at Baba again. Hey, did they ever? Oh yeah, they did send me a message. Let's go over here to support chat. See what these guys said. What do you mean the ER? Seems I miss you if you haven't. Oh my God. Resume request. So I should have been a little bit more. Earnings. Earnings. All right, so there we are on that. All right, so big time, right? For into earnings, if this is accurate, if anybody could tell me, 131 is what they're saying for earnings. Last time they were wrong, and so I just want to be careful. Um, So I just want to be careful. But I can see a move into 153, into some supply here. Give me 1 second here. Sorry, 153 into 162. 153 by 162. 31st of January. I'm looking for 1 February. 153. Sounds crazy, huh? And I'm just going to hold on to. Now I could do a nice little credit debit spread, or sorry, debit spread here on a bull note. I could sell some calls as well outside of where I don't think it's going, which would be, for me, I don't think it'd get over 169, 170. I could be totally wrong, but I could look to sell outside there. But those things are, I'm not looking at collecting much money there, so not too interested. I could do a debit spread and buy the 150 and sell the 165 or 162. So probably go a little bit smaller. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. If it continues to move, that's cool. So I'm going to identify, um, let's see. Yeah, Tex, I think that what's happening is we're creating a tight range within these zones, which makes sense into earnings and into Feds. So you're going to get some choppy action. Um, Here we go, support. All right, so let's get that out of the way. Look for a slight pullback here, just kind of being patient. Some big movers today, CMG. CMG was actually in our swing trade channel. And let's see here if we come up. Actually, it was in the, you can see here. Just want to show this to everybody. All right, so let me take some of this privacy off so everybody can't see who's in here. There we go. So I'm going to take that off. Okay, and you can see here's our room. And here's the Trendy charts room. Looking for this here in CMG. So the overall LIS where we want to take the position was over 424. Entry was down here at 406. So far, everything doing really well. Targets were T1 at 437, T2 at 454, and then overall target here is 471. Okay, so let's see how that's kind of panned out. So I'm going to get this out of the way. All right, and we're going to come over here to CMG. Okay, okay, so here's CMG. Geez, okay, and so it's it's awesome. So it came all the way up into our supply target here. 15 minutes. Let's go right there. There it is, right there. I look forward to possibly up to 483. I'd like to see it start to break down though, and then I'll look for a short here in the name. We'll see what happens. I'm going to do a little alert here. You guys will get this alert too. And if you're watching, then you understand what's going on. Create alert at or above. Possible short. Okay, go ahead and throw that on there. Don't forget to read your notes on the alerts there. Good, good. So Amazon, I think I told you we scaled out of that as well. Made profits in that trade as well. BKNG, something that's been on my list to kind of watch here. A little bit of consolidation, nice little channel. Nothing too impressive. I'd be looking for that breakout above 1739. It does look like from this standpoint, though, we are holding my overall. I put this in the charts channel or the swing channel as well. We are holding the overall line in the sand here at 1711, looking for that test of 1776. And let me just check just to be sure. So I'll also share with you all. So yeah, those trades were great. We had 4 successful trades, completely flat now. That's how day trading should be, right? So you should be able to collect your money, leave now. And for me, right, I'm here in Florida, go to the beach, hang out on the beach, do whatever I need to do. And for yourselves, if you have jobs and stuff, I get it. You can't be in front of the screen, but what I'm trying to relay during this week on the days that I've offered to anybody who wants to come in and just kind of watch is that at least you understand that the person moderating behind the scenes here is using methodology, right? This is not, I don't use news. Um, we don't use, we have very precise way of looking at things, and we do have an edge, right? So we use here in the room what's called trendy edges, which is, no pun intended, but we are using edges, and that's what you see on the screen here. We have yellow and you have purple and you have blue. These are all called trendy edges. They work really well, and so we just have process, right? Methodical and sequential. I mean, that's what you got to do, and then also take profits when you have them, and not get too greedy. And before you know it, profits actually add up, and you become a successful trader, right? Again, I like to reiterate my opinion on what it means to let your positions go to zero. I think it's crock. I don't think you should let positions go to zero. What I think is if you are a trader that's willing to lose X amount, pick a option strike based around targets, right? Based around targets, and then find where that falls in. If it's at the money and it's 500 bucks and you're willing to lose 500, then fair. You can say that you're willing to lose 500 bucks. Okay. If it's something like Amazon, it cost me 3 grand, but my target's at 500 bucks, I can let that go to zero, right? So just something to think about. All right. So as you can see here, lots of momentum going into this double top here. And what we want to see again is that breakout above here, pull back, retest what was resistance, and then turns into support. And then we want to ride this up into 25.65. Now I have 4 good trades this morning, and there's a part of me that says, hey John, let's shoot for 25.65 today's expirations. But another thing you want to be thinking about to the top side is the bottom side. You want to get puts when they're cheaper, right? And so we tend to, as human beings and traders, is we start buying puts as the market is crashing down, right? And then we start to get scared, but the people selling to you are selling you a high premium because they understand that they're making money off of your fear. So just remember that. It doesn't mean we have to pull back, but if you're one of those traders that constantly is in this limbo of, hey, I think the market's going to crash, you don't want to be buying them as they're down. So for example, I do have in my account here, I have SPY monthly calls at 265 for cheap, right? I bought them at, I think my cost basis is zero point 0.42. And then I have puts that are out in February for 231, right? 231 strike. So I don't like to say new because people like really, right? So just to be fair, it came into monthly demand. It pushed out like I knew that it would, and then it started to move. And so I wanted to capture the call side in the next month. And then the bigger picture is when we hit that overhead supply, I'm looking for a drop. And then obviously people are going to say, hey, we're going to test that 1224 drop. We're going to 1224 as in the date. And then, I wouldn't be surprised if we break that and hit this level. I'm targeting that level as we move up here. All right. So I want to be buying those when they're cheaper on the upside. Okay, so all right, CGC still doing its thing. Look for the move back here to the edge at 29.02, and then possible a nice bounce play there for any scalpers that are out there. Uh, this would be considered for me on an intraday bear flag on Google. This is another misled concept is that, hey, they got to upgrade. That means they're going up. There's no such thing. Okay, so what you want to look at is if you understand supply and demand, and this news comes out pre-market, are they actually just leading you into a pocket of supply? It's called a trick. They're tricking, right? They're tricking you, and then price drops, and you're like, oh, I don't get it. They had to upgrade today, right? Well, as long as you understand that part, you will do so well, and you will not buy into the BS. Okay. Now, if they have an upgrade and you have a supply zone $10 away, there's a huge chance we could rally, right? So let's look at Google a little bit more in depth here. Sometimes some of these names, after upgrade, it just takes a couple days, right? Because you wash out everybody that jumped in at the top this morning who said, "Oh man, I'm gonna catch this thing all the way up to 1100," right? But what we want to see here is by end of day, if we can make some good moves and start to bounce a little bit, Google can make its way above the edge here at 1074, 1075. But also, if you all recall that in the room we had the swing trade on Google, 1056 was the resistance point. And remember how long it took for it to get past 1056? Anybody recall that? It was like 5 or 6 attempts there. So when you're looking at it from this angle, you can actually see basically where it stalled out every time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it finally broke through like on 5. All it's doing is coming back to test what was resistance, to test to see if it's going to be support. Okay, so if I just kind of show you that with a box, you can see here this was a line in the sand for us, was the top of this box, and then you can see right here price has come back to retreat to that to see if it's going to turn into support. And being patient, you understand this. Now we're going to look for, hey, can it actually hold this? And we are okay to wait until tomorrow, even if it starts to take off, because tomorrow we just set up our box trades and then we'll look to ride the wave into Google, which honestly, look, you want to get in at the bottom, you want to get out at the top, right? And if you have more layered positions, you could look to hold onto a swing position. This is pretty simple concept, okay? Even though I'm not going to show you what supply and demand looks like per candle formation, it's essentially, you're looking at a range here, okay? I want to be in a range and I want to be out of this range towards the top, right? And I want to be in, if I'm looking over into the left, I want to be in on the last range, okay? So you get this nice move here to the upside, okay? It's got to consolidate a little bit. Did that here. Had to make up its mind. Broke this, right? Breaks out, comes back to retest, and then we get that move up into, we got the trendy monthly edge right here, also lined up with supply. We're looking to get this move up into 1117, 1120, and then nice little move down. Okay. All right. So over here on Google, 2/4, February the 4th, you're looking at earnings. That's what TOS says. Let me back this up a little bit for you. Okay. So what range were we looking at, right? So you should have been asking that question a while ago. What's your range? Okay, bigger picture here. We start to pull back. You want to be getting long. Okay, I'm not precisely showing you the candle formations, but you want to be getting long there. Okay, and when you get long there, I mean, most traders can't hold to here, right? Most traders. So we range trade. This is a range. Then this is a range. and then this is a range. So we trade range by range, okay, and just apply methodology to those smaller ranges. Cool. All right. So great sell on Amazon, great sell on Baba. You can see these are now dropping there. Netflix, right up to target. I can't make this stuff up. Glad that you joined today. You can see here, pretty close to this overall target, which tells me a late evening run could get you right up into supply there. So overall, you want to really start paying attention. Look at TWLO. Holy crap, I missed the gun on this one. All the way up to the monthly edge. Okay. All the way up to the monthly edge. Now, I want you guys to understand, so the monthly edge is last month. Last month. So that's what I'm looking at here. And it's important. So nice move up there. Wow, amazing. Nice moves. All right, Square doing what I was talking about on Friday. I think we had some traders that took it short, made a little bit of money, but the overall picture was bullish. Continue to feel bullish on Square. Also has earnings coming up. I'll talk about that here in about 3 minutes. All right, holy smokes, there it goes. So nice little breakout of the flag. 2551 was the target there. Looking for 2565 on the SPX. I think you might actually get this now. Let's see. That was weird. Let's see if it's just a blow off. See what's going to happen here. See if it's going to come back and test 2551. That's what I really like to see before this thing takes off. May not happen though. What do we got going on over here? Amazon 47. Boom. Love it. Let me check out my SPY calls really quick. Yeah, these are actually in the money now. Not in the money, sorry, they're green. Big numbers coming through too. Jeez. How much are those going for anyways? 2565s at the end of the day on SPX. Be careful we don't get a shooting star out of this. 2565, 7 January. $2,565 is 220 by 230. If that's too expensive for your blood, again, you could be looking at SPY 255s. Let's see what that looks like. Those are 54 cents. 254. Not much reward in those. I don't really like that. Back to BABA. Let's check this out real quick. Okay, nice little dip there. All right, BABA we scaled out of for profit, and I want to see if we could take out this high. I'm going to go into something a little bit further out of the money to capture earnings run, hopefully into 149. See if we can also get some premium built onto this. Any kind of catalyst that will get us going, but just want to be patient here. Sometimes when you get these little blow-offs in the ES, it could signal a move back down, so I just want to be careful. Which is really nice, comforting right now, is because we're literally flat. Okay, let's see if we get a test the 2551. Really want to make sure this is going to hold. Yeah, and just as I expected on McDonald's, it was a move up. So, wasn't, you can't short at these critical levels here, you need to make sure that you treat it as an over-under. Just my opinion. All right, so I picked a higher strike to capture BABA earnings into which looks like the 31st on BABA. Remember, I am flat, and now I've added BABA, so a roll basically. Sold the other BABA for profits. And looking at 160s into 1 February, we'll see how that pans out. They're pretty cheap, so for myself though, I'm still going to use a 40 to 50% stop loss on these, depending on if it breaks a certain point for me. So. Also, we talked about oil this morning. Nice move. Gave some price points on oil as well, and is doing really well. And some things I really like to play when oil is ripping is CVX. CVX is amazing. Um, I don't think I've had a negative trade on CVX. I would have to go back and look. But this one's nice. You had a trending line that was up here. You don't have supply for quite some time. Basically, you could just target up into the mid here from 2 months ago at 116. A break of the TL. I'm looking for a move into 120. Nice, Adam. That's amazing, man. All right, CGC also continuing to move. Give you that target here earlier for us here into 25.65 is what I was looking at. Did come back, retest here, just like we were talking about. So nice move up so far. Amazon also still kicking. Those BABA calls already up again on that roll. CVX, that's what I was trying to get to, and I was talking to you all about that. So on an intraday perspective, just want to see that it can hold above the level here at 111, 111.20, and then moving up to 116 there. BA is now green. BABA still tearing it up $4. And so BABA, I can add to this position. So where do I want to add on BABA? Just so everybody kind of understands what that looks like. For BABA, an ad would be, a couple maybe at the end of the week or whatever. Say we get this move like we're expecting into the mid edge. I'd expect a nice pullback here, maybe down to here, and then a nice move here. And then again, want to make sure this turns into support. And this would be my ad right in here. And then again, targeting 160s into earnings. Okay. That's the idea behind that. Obviously, if it starts to pull back, I want to see that the trendy edge at 140.6 can hold. Pretty easy. Yeah, sure. I'll take a look at. Sorry, I just noticed this question that came through here on LABD. Is this a penny stock or something? Or no? Oh, no. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's take a look at it. So I'm going to start with weekly real quick. I mean, obviously, it looks like short sellers are targeting this low down here. My line in the sand for something like this, personally, would be 88.7% of this move. You can see here it's already broken. So you really want, at the end of the day, to close above 32.10, just my 2 cents and my opinion. If I were looking at this from a supply and demand perspective, I'd be targeting, I mean, these short sellers would be targeting $24 and some change. But before that, you know, I probably wouldn't get my demand level right away. So 26 is the easier target if this low from 12.3 can't hold. So I mean, your biggest thing here is if you're a long-term holder, in my opinion, is looking at the edges and just, you know, the monthly edge broke, which isn't good. And that line in the sand on the monthly is around 32.13. But you know, this thing moves, you know, yeah, again, that's just a line in the sand there. So these are just numbers I'm giving, no advice. So yeah, 32.13. You want to see it at the end of the day, at least close up about 30.60. I like the target. If I were wanting to buy this thing, I'd be looking at buying it at around 26, all the way down to 24, 24 and a half. Okay, BKNG finally take that move. It is above our LIS. I like it up into 1774. I may take it. We'll see. BKNG. Oh, come on. I don't know why Thinkorswim does this. And it just like disappears. Look at Google. What a nice move. So it did come back really nice and quick here. I'll look at BKNG here in a second. I do like this. It is above my edge now. So happy to see that. And it did come into, let's go down to 15 minutes, came right into our level here at 1063. Nice move. Now we're above the edge, looking for a breakout into 1090 if we can take out that high, and 1117. Anybody know what that means? STFR? Sorry about that, guys. All right, so ES pulling up just like it should. Nice move here into 2565 soon. Up 28 points. Things looking nice. I think everybody wants to short the rip. Just keep in mind, it's been a long time since we rally-based rally. And so that could catch you off guard. Just take it one element at a time, and just looking into, whether or not these levels hold or not. I'll be happy to short if I see a rejection and then a lower low for myself. What in the hell? This thing, man. Pissing me off. Sorry, guys. Thinkorswim's acting up. It's irritating.